Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're taking a look at 10 fighting games that totally ripped off of other fighting games. Not all of them are bad rip-offs per se, but they certainly lean into their inspirations a lot more than you would expect. Before we begin, we publish new videos all week long, so be sure to subscribe to MojoPlays and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. Xenoage, Alien Bloodsport. To its credit, Xenoage does have some level of originality, particularly in its character design. Even so, it does not mask the more glaring issues like the stiff controls, the mundane music, and lack of mechanical depth. It honestly feels like Xenoage was cobbled together to rival another monster-themed fighting game, and it most likely was. Primal Rage was another monster-themed fighting game that had been released roughly a year prior to Xenoage's debut. Granted, there were a number of fighting games trying to out-edge and out-violence each other in the 90s, but the timing of Xenoage is just a little too coincidental.
Victory.
The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. A fighting game wasn't exactly what fans were wanting from a Billy and Mandy video game, but this one turned out to be really cool. Play as one of several of your favorite characters from the show to duke it out in an arena and collect mojo orbs to unleash devastating attacks. If we have any Capcom fans in the audience, this formula sounds an awful lot like Power Stone, don't you think? Yes, Billy and Mandy the game does not hide its Power Stone 2 influences here between the recovery rolling, the level design, the real-time stage transitions, and some of the pseudo-boss battles. That isn't necessarily a bad thing, the game is still a lot of fun. But for those of us who played a good amount of Power Stone, it's a little funny seeing how much influence Capcom had over this gem.
Victory!
Breakers. Okay, now we're starting to get into the too close for comfort side of ripoffs. Breakers was a 2D fighter from Visco Corporation that tried to rival the likes of Capcom, particularly with their arcade giant Street Fighter II. Breakers was a great game with its tight controls and unique backdrops, however, one look at the roster shows that the code developers might have tried a little too hard to be like their inspiration. Some characters feel like mashups of two specific Street Fighter stars, while others came off more like direct rips. Despite this, Breakers has managed to live on as a super niche yet lively part of the fighting game community, especially in Japan. Street Fighter EX series. With the excitement of 3D gaming being a possibility, came a massive push from every company to transition every one of their franchises into the space. In an effort to get their flagship fighter onto the scene, Capcom created the Street Fighter EX series, and they found quite a bit of success in both arcades and console ports. Alas, that didn't stop die-hard Tekken and Virtua Fighter fans from calling it a total knockoff. By this point, Street Fighter had already been dominant as a 2D fighter, and some just weren't willing to accept its potential in the 3D fighting space. Thankfully, as the years have gone on, more and more folks have grown to appreciate Street Fighter EX for what it is, a lot more than they might have back in the day. AEW Fight Forever. Developer Yuke's and the AEW brand were not shy about what they were aiming for with AEW Fight Forever. During the marketing and hype cycle, there was a lot of talk from both companies about nostalgia for classic wrestling games like WWF No Mercy. That's cool and all, but when the game dropped, it felt like a half-hearted attempt at replicating an N64 PS1 gem. AEW Fight Forever was severely lacking in unique game modes, and while it sort of matched the chaotic nature of No Mercy, the poor optimization and ugly character models failed to recognize the expectations and innovations of modern gaming. Really, you can get away with archaic design so much before you're just straight up copying too hard, and doing it way worse. Samurai Showdown Sen. Going back to fighting games trying to go 3D, SNK struggled in making Samurai Showdown a 3D fighter. Folks were not happy with the Tekken-like Samurai Showdown Warrior's Rage, but what if SNK borrowed some ideas from another Namco game? Say, Soul Calibur? Well, you get Samurai Showdown Sen in this case, which is the worst game in the whole franchise. Not only did Sen fail in transitioning characters into a 3D space properly, it failed to implement a movement system as responsive as Soul Calibur's. Combine that with the uncomfortable focus on realistic viscera and saturated visuals, and what you get is a game that would kill the franchise for the next decade.
Conclusion.
Tattoo Assassins. Now, we can easily chalk up Tattoo Assassins as a Mortal Kombat ripoff because, oh, it used digitized actors. However, that's just pointing out a common practice in game development, one that was also common in the 90s as soon as that technology became widely available. No, what makes Tattoo Assassins a blatant Mortal Kombat ripoff is because of the massive focus on finishing moves. The game wanted you to put your quarters in because, look, we have more than 2,000 ways to kill your opponent. Isn't that so cool? Well, only a couple hundred have been discovered, and most of them are pretty lame. But Tattoo Assassins was only ever released as a prototype in some corners of the market, and it never got an official launch. Although, at the time of this video, XA Arcadia is looking to bring the game to modern hardware for the first time ever. So, if you got that morbid curiosity, better keep an eye out for that one, I guess. Cartoon Network Punchtime Explosion. Yes, it was only a matter of time before a Smash Bros. Knockoff was going to rear its ugly head here, and Cartoon Network Punchtime Explosion is the biggest offender. It's one thing to just copy the UI format and general formula that Smash would invent for the platform fighter subgenre. It's another thing, though, when the majority of your roster plays the exact same way as the Smash Bros. Roster. We are not joking. Whether you're a Pikachu main, a Link main, a Bowser main, a Ganondorf main, or even a Wario main, anybody who has played Smash Bros. Will be able to point out which Cartoon Network character is copying which Nintendo character. Inspiration would be a generous moniker for Punchtime Explosion. Tekken! Oh, were you not expecting one of the biggest 3D fighting games ever made to appear on this list? Well, yes, Tekken is a ripoff of another game, but it managed to be that way because of certain events that occurred prior to its development. After Sega published the grandfather of 3D fighters, Virtua Fighter, much of the development team for that game had left the company, each for their own reasons, only to be poached by Namco almost immediately. Namco wanted the team to basically do what they did for Virtua Fighter, with the exception of incorporating texture mapping into the game. Not only did the staff achieve that, they also refined controls and mechanics way more than Sega's 3D Fighter did at launch. Next thing you know, Virtua Fighter and Tekken are suddenly competing with each other in the subgenre, but this sort of copying was nowhere near as excessive as our final entry. Art of Fighting. After Street Fighter II had taken over arcades in 1991 and the years that followed, SNK wanted to compete with a 2D fighter of their own, and they wanted to play aggressively. SNK went so hard that they actually went and poached the original director of Street Fighter to work on Art of Fighting. The thing is that when the game was released, Capcom noticed a lot of Street Fighter in SNK's work. What followed was years of new characters being added to both games, many of which were serving to be nothing more than parodies of their competitors' character designs. In the end, which franchise do you think managed to stick around longer, At the time of this video, the last Art of Fighting game was released in 1996. Just FYI. Have you played any of these ripoffs for yourself? Full admittance, I played a lot of Billy and Mandy before I knew what a Power Stone even was. You're looking at a Fredburger main right here, by the way. But let us know what you played down in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to MojoPlays for more great videos every day.
Oh no.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, there's more where that came from.